All right, game week. Game prep. You know, take the preparation, attention to detail, sense of urgency at practice, energy to another level. We got to get it back to game week. We've had good practices, but you know, we weren't getting ready to play, so everybody's got to ramp it up a notch, players and coaches. So that'll open up the questions.
Exactly, Liz.
I don't know how different it is schematically in terms of the way they run the quarterback, the way they fit the quarterback run element into their offense. But when you're dealing with a team that does want a little bit more of that option sort of look, how helpful is extra time to prep? I know coaches used to talk about like with the triple option. I know that's a little bit extreme, but
Yeah.
it always helped to have a few extra days. How helpful?
Well, you know, I think at this point in the season, you've seen about everything, right? And you put the best scheme together based on who you're playing and what they do. And, you know, Notre Dame's an excellent football team. They're extremely well coached. In reference to your point, they run the quarterback quite a bit. And he's an excellent player. I've been watching him for a couple of years, studying Duke offense when he was at Duke. And, you know, he's a competitor, and he throws the ball well, and he's got good movement skills, good size. So, you know, when you play Notre Dame offensively, it starts with the run game, and the quarterback's a big part of the run game, not only on the design quarterback runs, but when he drops back and he's in the pocket and escapes the pocket, his ability to, you know, create plays with his arm and his legs.
Liz and Matt.
How's your offense kind of developed, like unique identity this year in terms of some of your ones that you know, what's been different about this year for offensively, you know, different, what you've done differently?
Yeah, you talking about schematically?
Yeah.
I think every year you tweak, you add some new things. You got to do that to stay ahead of the game. You know, whether you're looking for new pass concepts or RPOs, you know, we want to get better in the red area, which I think we've done this year. Put a lot of time into that in the off season because you know 3 field goals to overcome 1 touchdown, so touchdowns are important there. But then you've always got to take into account your personnel and put them in the best positions to be successful, and come up with the weekly plan to get that done. So I think there's always tweaks in certain areas for certain game situations.
With that red zone work you said you did, is it picking out plays you see, concepts, like how, when you say you like
Yeah.
focused on?
Well, as you guys know, I'm a film junkie, right? I mean, in my free time, I'd just as soon be watching tape and be doing anything other than sitting in my recliner. So, you know, that's a couple years of, you know, low red, high red work. Nowadays, you know, you can PFF every touchdown pass from the 1 to the 4, from the 25 to the 5. And then you know, kind of going through those and seeing what might fit, and you know, pull up something depending on who you're playing that scheme-wise might match something. So you're always trying to gain the edge in this business because you know all these coaches can coach, all these teams are good, despite you know the records. The margin for error is very slim every game, and you've got to always work toward finding the edge.
Matt and Todd.
Coach, last week when you talked to us, you said the first week was going to be about juggling, preparing for Notre Dame in the portal. Obviously, your just game was this week.
Yeah.
But how was that first week? How challenging was it? And if you could change anything about how they've done this calendar, what would you change?
Yeah, well, it was challenging. You know, I did get home a lot later than I normally do, and I was still in early, 4:35 a.m. So, because you're dealing with portal evaluation, official visits, and still opponent prep to some degree, and then you know you're dealing with your staff and your players' retention as well. I'm glad that week is behind us, and you know. The message this morning to the coaches was, okay guys, no phones in the meeting rooms. If you got your phone, take it to your office. And surprisingly, every guy got up except one. So that was revealing. But you know, Off weeks are different than game weeks in terms of, you know, what's required in terms of your focus and attention to detail. And in terms of the recruiting calendar, you know, I don't know that there's any easy answers to that. When you look at it from a player's perspective, everybody starts school in January, so guys that are switching schools need to have the opportunity to visit prospective schools in December. But yet seasons end at the end of November, championship games the first week of December, and there's always going to be bowl games, and now there's the expanded playoff. So I don't really know the answer to that. I don't think it's a simple situation, and if it was, it would be remedied by now.
Todd on your left and Pete.
Curt, anything unique about Notre Dame's defensive front compared to some of the better defensive fronts that you've seen, especially over the last month or so? Anything that stands out?
Well, they're good. They're good. Their defense is good, and Al Golden does a great job of coordinating their defense. And you know, they're high pressure blitz outfit, quite a bit of man coverage, and then you know, they got the zone mixers and fire zones that keep you off balance a little bit. But you know, they get 11 guys doing their job pretty consistently. They play fast. They're physical. They're good tacklers. And they get a lot of hats to the ball, and they adjust well during the course of the game. They haven't given up many points because you know, they got good coaches and they got good players. And up front, you know, they're quick, a lot of movement. But when you take into account then the blitzes, right, there's a lot of moving pieces, and they play coverage extremely well. And they do a great job in man coverage. So they're a really good defense, and that's why they've won a lot of games.
Pete up top on your left and Robbie.
Curt up here. I know you brought in West and Kamara to make an impact, and they certainly have. What has made them stand out?
Well, good prospects. Mikhail's a real smart player. He's explosive, dynamic, quick. He's a good technician. CJ West, for a big guy, moves extremely well, has really good get off. I think it all starts with Derek Owings and our strength and conditioning program. He does a great job of taking body fat off these guys and adding lean muscle mass, and they'll gain weight, but it's good weight, and still making them more flexible, quicker, faster, explosive. Then I got to give our defensive coaches a lot of credit. I think Coach Haynes does a great job as a coordinator of finding ways to create disruption up front and stop the run and pressure the quarterback. And Coach Kuntz, Pat Kuntz, and Buda Williams do a tremendous job as well. You know, we have two defensive line coaches. Pat coaches the inside guys, and Buda has the outside guys. So, you know, it's a team effort, and these are guys that really want to be good, so they commit and they work hard every day to improve, and you see the end result.
Robbie, and then we'll go to Zoom with Ted.
Yeah, Coach, when we look at what Curtis has done, I think he's the top rated guy, quarterbacks in the playoffs for Football Focus. He's number 1, number 2, number 3 in the country in a whole bunch of categories. What's made him so good and so consistent throughout the whole year?
Well, a lot of things go into that. First of all, he had a body of work before he came here, and he's played a lot of football. So, you know, you learn by doing. And he's gotten a lot of reps at playing quarterback, a lot of successful reps. And, you know, coming to a new school is an adjustment schematically. Some of the concepts may be similar, but the language is different, and obviously a new way of doing things, new players, what have you. And a lot of new portal guys at receiver. And so, but, you know, I think it all starts with protection. We've done a pretty good job of protecting him most of the time. We have certainly had our hiccups during a couple games. And we've got a group of receivers that have really good ball skills and can make contested catches, and our backs are good out of the backfield as well. And I think, you know, schematically, a lot of our pass plays, you know, they have answers versus man, zone, 1 high, 2 high. And, he's a quick thinker, and he processes quickly, and he's extremely accurate. And he's good in the pocket. He doesn't panic, and you know, he's a really good quarterback, and he has certainly taken his game to another level. There's no doubt about that. You know, he was a player of the year in the MAC in 22, but suffered an injury at the end of the season. So he really could not benefit from sort of the off-season strength and conditioning program going into his senior year. Still had a good year. You know, since he's come here on a bigger stage, I think he's built on every success and developed more confidence and belief and continues to improve. And I think you really saw that starting game 2 and then out on the West Coast against UCLA. And then, you know, when you can involve 10, 12 different guys in terms of touches between running backs, tight ends, and receivers, you know, that's a great thing to have multiple guys that can separate, get open, and make plays.
Adam Rittenberg on Zoom, then Jim.
I can't hear
Hey Curt, how are you? Just wanted to, obviously Notre Dame doesn't have a lot of firsts left in its program, but this is one on Friday for them. It's new for them, it's new for you guys. I'm wondering how you think your team will handle this type of stage where everyone in the country is going to be watching you guys.
Yeah, I think to me and our guys, you know, my mind is just another game. I mean, you know, you prepare for this one like you prepare for all of them. I think for our players, you know, they're going to be excited to play and excited to prove something. I don't think anyone was happy with the way we came out of Ohio State. We didn't give ourselves a chance to be successful. You know, giving up 14 points on the punt team and then having some of the communication breakdowns we had on pass pro. We didn't give ourselves a chance to play offense. So, but I think our guys have learned from that too and will be better in a hostile environment than we were on that particular day. And at the end of the day, it's just football. You know, the game's going to be won or lost between the white lines, and I want them to go out there, fly around, have a little swag, and play the way we can play.
Jim in front, and Zach Beaton.
Curt, you talked about Notre Dame's defense and the respect you have for them. Obviously, they have a really good secondary, some very good defenders back there. How important is it for Indiana to get their running game going to help open up the passing game?
I think it's always important to be balanced. You know, if you can run the ball successfully, and you know, it opens things up in the pass game and vice versa. So we have been pretty balanced this season. We've run the ball well. Those guys have done a good job up front. Coach Bostad done a great job. Coach Miller, the run backs. Everybody involved, and that'll be a big part of it again Friday night.
Zach Beaton right in front, then Daniel.
Coach, who have you kind of seen in the locker room as a player take charge these last couple of weeks as you guys prepare mentally and physically for this game?
I mean, the same guys that really have done it all year long. And I've said this a few times. We have a lot of guys that could be the leader or one of the 2 or 3 leaders on this team. You know, we've got a lot of older guys that played a lot of football, that have high character, great competitive excellence. They're consistent day in, day out. They represent the principles and values of the program, and they're respected by their teammates. And you know, there's probably at least a dozen guys I could name there. So, you know, you got to send 3 captains out for the coin toss, or maybe you're allowed 4, and we send the same 3 out every game: Carpenter, Kadick, and Ellison. But you know, we just have a bunch of guys that love to play football and work hard every day. And you know, we've had a great locker room from the get-go, and it's never changed.
Daniel on the right, then Seth.
I want to say it was James Carpenter said last week, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. How do you go about trying to manage that with also just the idea that it is kind of just whatever's ahead of you?
Yeah, well, you know, it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him because this is his senior year. He hadn't had to do it yet. He's played in the FCS playoffs before. But he also understands that to capitalize on the opportunity, you know, he's got to stack meetings and days and put himself in the best position to be successful on Saturday. It's no different than for getting ready for Game 5, right? And he's an older guy. He understands that. So, I mean, I think they're all excited to be a part of it. But I think they also all understand what it's going to take to be successful, to play their very best football.
Seth front left, and Jack.
Curt, I know Jameer Johnson missed the game against Purdue. Just health-wise, how is he doing? How's everybody on the team doing? And I guess in general, how tricky does it get this time of year to manage that aspect of things, keeping everybody healthy when you get this late in the year?
Yeah, our health is good, and Jameer's out there practicing, looks good. So we're in pretty good shape.
Jack, front left.
Yeah, Curt, you called yourself a film junkie. I guess with the extended break that you have between Purdue and Notre Dame, does that allow you to watch me? I mean, I guess how much of Notre Dame did you go in, and is that deeper than normal? You key on anything specific?
No, I mean, we've been watching Notre Dame from the get-go, but, you know, I also like the sense of urgency during game week in terms of preparation, where you're more detailed and focused and putting that plan together. So, you know, we put a few core things in that we've been practicing forever that fit the Notre Dame game, and we'll get a little bit more specific this week.
Joe, back right, then Zion.
Coach, Aiden Fisher's been really consistent all year long. What does that mean for you, a guy you brought to JMU and followed you along with this ride?
Yeah, he gets better every year, and when he talks, people listen, but he backs it up with the way he plays on the field. I'm glad to see a lot of the recognition he's received postseason, as well as all the other guys they have. And he's the quarterback of the defense.
Zion on your right, last one.
Curt, when you look at this Notre Dame team, they're one of the best at turning teams over on defense. Just how important do you feel like it will be for you guys to protect the ball and not put it into danger on Friday?
Critical. I think we're plus 15 in turnover ratio, they're plus 16. And they've forced 25 fumbles on the season. That's a high number. So ball security for us and them is going to be really important. Winning the turnover battle. I'll tell you, the other area that they're really dangerous is, you know, their punt return team, they've blocked 3 punts and forced a couple bad snaps because of the pressure they put consistently. So they've gotten the points there. And then, you know, when they punt, they fake 3 punts, you know, which those kind of plays can be game changers in a game. So they use their punt and punt return as weapons. And we got to be right on point. Our teams have been really consistent this year, other than the Ohio State game. And we're going to need a good special teams effort this week.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.